Okay, quick update on what's going on. So, we have this Dana 70 out of a Dodge. There's the Ford. Also, my old dehumidifier took a crap on me. So my grandmother gave me this new one, and it works fantastic. It's been on for a day, and I have to empty it out. So my tools are going to be dry, and they're not going to get mildew everywhere anymore. Anyways, bought this today. It's another Dana 70. This one's out of a Ford, which means those hubs will work on our Ford case. And we're not going to use this Ford case. It is the same. It would work. We have the axle shafts that we need. They are not the right splines, I believe, though, because I believe in the Dodges they ran 32, and in the Fords they ran 30 or 35, depending on the year. But this is a 354 open diff, which is what this Ford was originally. So if we wanted to clean this up, check our spider gears, and we could slap it in with these axles just to get it on the road for now, in this case. And then what we could do is have some axles made down the road, and we could swap in the locker. I'd rather have the locker right away, but if it comes down to it, we'll put it off till the very end. We won't put it off till the very end. We'll try and get it done as soon as possible, and if we can't get it done as soon as possible, we'll just slap the open diff together, and we'll just leave it until I have the time or the money to swap over to the locker. And who knows, we might even just scrap that. I might sell it. I mean, it's brand new. We could sell it to some guy who's got a Dodge for $400 because it's brand new. It is a brand new locker, basically, and it's been all properly set up. The bearings are good. The only non-desirable part is it's a 354 ratio, and I know a lot of the Dodge guys like to go to 410s, especially when they have overdrive and they're 3/4 tons. But we could sell it, and we could buy the proper 30 or 35 spline. I think this is 30 spline axles. I did a quick look, and they look like 30 splines to me. And we could just see how much some sort of limited slip would be, or a locker, limited slip or locker, how much it would be. And we can determine then if we want to sell that one and buy a new one so that we can use factory Ford axles, or if we want to get custom axles made. Because, you know what, if we break an axle, it'll be a lot less downtime. If we have factory Ford axles, we could just order some and get them here in a couple days. Another thing going on with the truck is on the truck we have had, oh, goodbye cap. This is a V8 duct over the side that I installed. I cut it out. There was a detent in the core support. Cut it out, ran it in. That's a duct. We were going to run a single hose over. But this air cleaner right here is a mid-80s emissions air cleaner that the guys threw in with this 302 Ford. So I sort of just got this air cleaner even though I didn't need it. I was going to put the 302 V8 in here. Not really worth it. I could rebuild the 302 V8 and put it in here, but I really like that straight 6 because these motors will not die. So I don't really have a motivation to do that, unless, of course, you know, it's a 69. We could get 450 horse out of it pretty easy, and we could have a slightly faster truck, or we could stick with this, and we could plans later, talk about that later. But we have this air cleaner, which is for a 2-barrel, but It's for the Ford style 2 barrels from the late 60s, so it fits a 4 barrel. So that air cleaner will fit this 4 barrel carburetor. And I was gonna put this snorkel on. This is a snorkel off of Lincoln, and that's an air cleaner for something else. But we don't have a lid for this, or we do. I don't know where it is, but I don't think I got a lid. But I have this. I started welding it up, and I'm like, you know what? We can just leave this snorkel on. Take out our vacuum things and our air doors. Weld the plates shut. Flatten this out, and then we can take this door out of this snorkel right here. We don't need that. Take out this air divider, take off all the emissions stuff, put a big air cleaner in, get a lid for it, make it round, slap it on, then we can have a dual snorkel intake. But there's a hole right here. You guys can see my fingers right there. There's a hole right there. That's where the straight 6 air snorkel went. Straight 6 pops over, it just goes boom, right to the 1 barrel that was originally on here. When I did the carb swap, I was young and stupid and I threw it all out, not realizing, they just don't make it anymore. But at this junkyard, when I was looking for rear ends, found this in the bed of an 83 Ford pickup with straight 6. The only one I found there with this that had a straight 6 in it. So that'll fit right in to that side. You can snorkel it right on over. We can have dual snorkel air cleaner, which is pretty much the most fresh air I would be able to get with this style of an air cleaner. And if we decide to boost it, it sort of makes it irrelevant. Or we could pipe it both into the intercooler. Who knows? Who knows? Or pipe it into whatever. We'll figure it out. Figure out what we need to do. Anyways, story behind this rear end. Very short, quick, fast version of it. I called them up 2 days ago. They said, yep, we got a rear end. It's Dana 70, 354. Exactly what you're looking for. We'll have it pulled, but if you to pick up. I get there, 2 o'clock today. I go out, it's a Sterling 10 1/4 full float. It's like, nope, totally wrong. And they said, well, we don't, it's all we have for a Dana 70. You can go back out there and look though. That's listed. That's all they had listed. And this place is huge. They were nice enough. They loaned me a tool to grab that. And they had the guy out there with the big Volvo center steer loader with the 30-foot forks on it, or however long they were. They're not 30 feet. They're like 15-foot forks. But they seemed like they were 30 feet. And he was following me around the yard. I went out, found a couple trucks, but they were all 70s, and I figured they were all going to be Dana 60s, but I couldn't really tell because the weeds were so tall. So he followed me around, picked them up for me, found some very cool trucks. Like, there is some clean trucks, like, you could restore, but they would definitely take a full restoration. But, if you're from Wisconsin, from that area, they had some trucks that were owned by businesses previously. So it'd be cool, restore it, put it in a parade. But yeah, there was one 77 F250 that was used by a construction company that I really liked, and it had 16.5-inch rims, and they were split rims, and a lot of these were split rim trucks, so they'd been sitting there for a while, but there were 16.5-inch split rims. It was 77, I said, whatever year it was. And it had 302. It was complete, and the cab was perfectly clean. The doors and the quarters were rusted out pretty much. They were basically gone. And the interior was very rough, but it's bright yellow. The wheels were yellow. Everything was there. It was just rotting away. So it'd be a very cool restoration project for somebody. But these guys are kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and they just got like 2,000 vehicles or something like that. It's ridiculous. Anyways, I get there, the axle's wrong, the guy with the big Volvo loader, he's following me around picking trucks up. I got like 20 minutes left before they close, and I had already driven an hour. I had like a 2.5-hour round trip, and I don't want to leave without an axle. So I'm thinking, You know what? We found this like 72, 73, 74 Ford Highboy F250. It's got a Dana 60 HD. I'm not sure if the hubs will work, but I'll buy it just in case. I'm thinking that. And I'm walking back away from from grabbing that snorkel, and I look to my left. I'm like, oh, there's an 82 F250 or 83. There's an 83. There's an 83 F250 just sitting there. I'm like, oh, I hadn't seen that before. Let's go look at the rear end's gone. And I look in the bed of the truck, and pulled, just sitting in the bed, is this Dana 70 sitting there. And it's like, oh, it's got to be a Dana 70. Look at the axle tubes on it. They're huge. Dana 60s are tiny. It's like, oh my, is it a Dana 70? What kind of Dana 70 is it? Is it a U? Is it a B? Is it an HD? Is it just a plain Jane Dana 70? I looked for a casting number. I couldn't find one. And I said, screw it, I'll take it. And it was about $200 cheaper than the Sterling they wanted to sell me. So for the parts I got today, everything was about $200 cheaper than that Sterling. And they loaded me up right at the last second before they locked the doors on my way out. So just by the skin of my teeth, found this rear end. Unbelievably difficult. So if I ever need parts for it in the future, who knows what I'm gonna do. But yeah, that's the fun story of how this axle came in my possession. And yeah, just very lucky that I was able to find it. I mean, I've been to a couple junkyards, and all even their 80s Ford stuff that should have a Dana 70, they're 3/4 tons. They've had like Dana 60 semi-floaters in there, and it's just a nightmare. But I can't get these drums off. I pulled the axles out, obviously. Bunch of water came out. I'm like, oh, the drums are probably seized on. Probably have to beat them off or heat them up and beat them off, but I don't really want to heat them up just yet. I've started to crack that one, so we're just going to rebuild the entire brakes, shoes, hardware, cylinders, drums. Everything's going to get redone. And I'll sandblast the backing plates and all that before it all goes on this axle. I have a nice fresh axle. The bearings look surprisingly good. I haven't cleaned it up, but they roll butter smooth for how dirty they are. So we might just have those bearings from those Dodge just lying around. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when I get this hub off. But that is Ford hub. That will fit that Ford spindle right there. It's long enough. And it's good. We're gonna sandblast that as well, probably, or at least clean it up and paint it. I know we're gonna see it for a little bit until I get the hubcaps, but take care of that when we get to it. And these rims are not all the same either. These are the 4 rims that came with the truck. Had them blasted and painted, local place. That one does not match that one. And that one, as you can see, is a little Chrysler star on it. I don't know if that's Chrysler, but that looks like a Chrysler star to me. And all the rest of these have Ford stampings. So the things I need to do before this thing goes down the road and we put tires on it, we get a rolling chassis, I need to find one more Ford rim like that, slap it on, get it blasted, painted, slap a tire on it, slap it on. And I need 2 lug nuts, because just the Ford was missing 2 lug nuts. So we got to put 2 of those on. We got to find 2 factory Ford lug nuts, which is surprisingly a pain in the butt, because everybody went to aftermarkets, and all the lug nuts, this one didn't come with any lug nuts, and all the lug nuts on the Dana 60s are itty bitty. Like, this takes a massive tire iron. That's a heavy duty lug nut. Even the stud is the same size as the Dana 60. That is just a heavy duty lug nut. So we gotta find 2 of those, or on eBay or in a yard or something. Gotta run up to another yard and get a Ford rim like this, slap all new shoes on all 5 so that I have a full-size spare in case I blow in when I'm towing, and then have a really good rolling chassis, and we can get to welding up all of the problems with our body mounts. So the body mounts are rusted out, obviously, so I have to grind them down, because the only way POR comes off is with a grinding wheel. Grind them down, weld in some washers. I gotta measure the right washers, and then repaint it, and we can get our body mounts on. I gotta buy all the hardware for all the leaf springs. All the bushings and stuff came in. All the bushings are down there for the entire truck. So we gotta get all the bushings installed in the leaf springs. Gotta get all the hardware, the U-bolts, everything. So we gotta take this axle apart. Get new kingpins, get new rotors and pads, rebuild the calipers, take the hubs apart, see how bad they are, rebush this rear end at the pivots, and just double check everything, maybe pop the carry out, see exactly what it looks like. I'm not going to worry about it right now because we don't have a transfer case for four-wheel drive yet. And get this axle taken care of, probably paint this axle up too when I get to it. And then we just put the axles on. Once those body mounts are all up, we get all the axles on, all the rubber, and then we start ripping this truck down, tear it all the way down. Oh, I gotta make bumper mounts too, because those were torched off. So yes, once that's all done, maybe another 3 weeks of solid after school work, and we can start tearing this truck down, moving everything over to there. We're gonna get the brake lines run too before we start doing any of that. We'll see if we can pull the fuel tank first, get the fuel tank installed on the bare frame, run all the fuel lines, all of the brake lines first while it's easy access. Get the hitch moved over, everything that has to go on the frame, fuel vent lines, everything that's a pain, we'll just put on while the body's not there. And hopefully we can get everything on this truck off in a day so that I can roll the old frame out onto the trailer and get it out of here. I'm not sure what we're going to do with the frame and the axles yet. I kind of want to keep the 9-inch just in case, because I plan on doing a Ford wagon someday, a Fairlane or something. You could put that 9-inch in, put that 302 in, you get a C6 automatic, make a serious drivetrain in that thing. And I'm not sure what we'll do with the twin traction beam. We might sell the 9-inch and we might sell the frame as a package to somebody who's doing like a street truck. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, very happy that we have finally figured out all the axle problems. The hubs will go on. It's a good day, but it's a long day, so I'm going to sign off. I'm going to go to bed even though it's only, oh gosh, it's only 8 o'clock. Oh boy, I'm beat. So, I'll catch you guys in the next one.